You don't know how you met me, you don't know why you can't turn around and say goodbye. All you know is when I'm with you, I make you free and swim through your veins like a fish in the sea.
We are live with episode 11 of Dude, Where's My Life?
I'm Nikki.
And this is our first show of the new year for anyone who's counting.
And he's also Adam.
That is true. Can I get into a minor correction first?
Yes, since I just minorly corrected you.
So it's not really a correction, but a couple episodes ago you mentioned the phrase Munchausen by proxy.
Yes.
Because you said your mom always makes you get the vaccinations right away.
Yeah, and Gypsy Rose Blanchard just got out of prison.
Yeah, so that was an interesting thing because you said that and I said, oh yeah, and I just kind of went along with it. And when I was listening to the show, I realized I have no idea what that means.
Really?
Yeah. So I was going to ask you, and then I didn't see it for a while.
And then it popped up with the Gypsy Rose
Yeah,
stuff.
and then that news show showed up. So now we know what Munchausen by proxy is.
Yes, we're very much educated.
Well, it's when someone, usually a parent, forces you to have all kinds of unnecessary medical checks.
Or not forces, but they fake a bunch of sicknesses or illnesses, either like to get money and attention and love, I guess, because that's how they feel their form of validation. And yeah, it's an actual disease, or it's an actual disorder.
We should not just say the word, but also tell people what it is, like we just did.
We should. So we're telling you.
Yeah, we almost just said it and then didn't explain it, which would have been the best vocabulary teacher ever, is to say a word and not say what it is.
I'm not sure there's very many people out there that don't know what it is now, by now though, just because Gypsy Rose was all over the news when she came out of prison. So
and also on that show, you said we were talking about something. And you said "por qué no los dos?"
Yeah, "por qué no los dos?" Yeah.
Yeah, and I went along with that too, but I listened to it and I was like, what does that mean? But then I realized it meant why not both?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I started using my Spanish brain to translate it, and I figured out what it was.
Using the kitchen Spanish from bartending.
No, I actually, in high school in New Jersey, I took 3 or 4 years of Spanish.
Yeah.
And my Spanish teacher and my math teacher were the two cool teachers. You know how there's a movie or a show where there's this special teacher.
Yeah, that you'd hang out with, after class and stuff in the room and whatever, shoot the shit.
Yeah, well, I wish I hung out with her after class. But we'll go over that on a different show where we talk about the influential teachers or people in our life. So it's the new year, so do we want to go into our New Year's resolutions, or should I first talk about animal encounters?
Animal encounters.
Okay. I haven't seen Dwayne the Orgasmic Cat in a while.
Oh, no. It's too cold, though.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's why I haven't walked by his house as much lately. It doesn't look like they moved, and I hope a coyote didn't get him or anything, so hopefully he's just avoiding the cold weather.
Yeah.
I have had to avoid the crazy dog.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, there's literally times where I pulled up in my car, and then I saw them walking around the corner.
And you just wait?
Yeah, I had to wait in my car. And one time I was with a friend, and they said, what do we do? And I said, well, we have to wait in the car for that dog to pass by my apartment. And I was trying to explain it, and then we got out of the car because they were down the sidewalk. And then the dog, he was like 50 feet away, and he turned around and looked. And I was like, man, that dog, he's crazy.
Yeah, definitely, especially around here. Plenty of crazy dogs. That's the one thing I don't miss about living in this area was and it's always the small little designer dogs, and they don't know how to control them, and I'm just just trying to get to my car.
Yeah, I don't know. Usually I like meeting them. So another neighbor, she introduced herself to me. She was walking her dog, and she said, "Could you do me a favor? My dog is old. Can you carry him up the stairs?"
Aww.
So she said I think she lives with her boyfriend, but he wasn't around.
Yeah.
And she needs people around sometimes to help her with that.
It's an older lady?
No, she was probably 30, give or take a few years. She was good looking for sure.
Was it a big dog or?
Yeah, it was okay.
I was like,
it was like a 90-pound dog. It was just
my God.
It was just too big
just
for her.
Carrying up 3 flights of stairs.
Yeah, so I saw her a week or so later, and I asked her if she needed a hand, but she got some kind of side pouch thing.
Yeah.
That you can put the dog in to help carry it up the stairs.
What?
Yeah, I didn't know that thing existed.
Huh. Wait, so how does that work? It's like a backpack
It's
thing?
it looked like a big...
Like a big bag?
Sling that on her side, and she didn't have the dog in at the time. She's
Yeah.
walking the dog, and somehow you get the dog in there, and then you could use your, your leg strength to stand up with the dog and walk up the stairs.
My dogs would not be down for that whatsoever.
Yeah, well, her dog was pretty calm and old, but
Yeah.
I said, well, maybe your next apartment, you should just get one on the first floor, and that would
Yeah.
solve everything.
Yeah, there's a guy that lives in my apartment complex, and like the guy's got like two bad knees, like a bad hip, like he can barely walk, and he's got these two big dogs. I think they're like golden retrievers or labs or something like that, like about 90 pounds, and he never walks them on leash, and they're very, very well behaved. Like if he calls for them, they come, and they're old too, so like they move very slow.
Right.
And I know exactly what happened, like, because I watched it happen. This other person in the apartment had like this small dog, and that dog went crazy because the other dogs were like off the leash and like in their presence. And then my apartment complex shot out a big email about how you need to keep your dogs on the leash, and I was like, it's just an old man. Like, I feel so bad for him because he lives on like the 3rd floor, and like this dude can barely walk up steps. His dogs can barely walk up steps. I'm like, get him a 1st floor apartment, for God's sake.
Yeah,
like,
for sure. And
like-
I mean, I don't care if dogs are on leashes. Obviously, there's going to be someone who has an aggressive dog who doesn't think
Yeah.
they're aggressive, who's going to do something and ruin it for everyone.
Yeah, that's why I don't
But-
take my dog to dog parks anymore.
But yeah, especially like small dogs, I'm not worried about them and it being on a leash or anything.
Yeah.
So I was parking my car the other night, or it was a few weeks ago, and there was a girl walking her dog. It was some little black dog. I'm not sure what it was. Mm-hmm. And I turned a corner towards a parking spot, and I hear the girl yelling. And then I look, and I see the dog running next to my car. She didn't have it on the leash. So I stopped, and I opened my door, and the dog jumped in my car.
Oh my gosh.
So that was like really random. The girl came running up and said, I'm so sorry. I said, it's okay. I don't know why he jumped in my car. But
That happens to me more often than you
and I think I petted the dog one time, and I talked to her just,
Oh, so you know previously?
yeah, but not well. It's like one time. So it's not like it would have been enough to where the dog could smell me through my car and
Yeah.
know my car or anything. It's
That dog just wants to get kidnapped.
Yeah,
That's what that
yeah.
sounds like.
Yeah, like when the cat came in my apartment, he had seen me
Yeah.
enough times to where he could, I guess, track down my scent or something like that.
Man, you're just gathering animals left and right that, that
yeah.
belong to other people.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with all that.
One day you'll get your own.
What else do we need to talk about? Do you have okay, so after the last show, took a while to do that show,
Mm-hmm.
and then I think a week or so later I sent you a few texts and you didn't return them. So I was thinking, uh-oh.
I ghosted again. I swear I'm not like this normally. It's just bad
sure.
circumstances.
Okay.
No, I had to go back into inpatient and get my meds re-regimented because things weren't working. I mean, with mental health and those type of medications, it takes like a couple weeks for them to start like working and for you to start feeling the actual effects, and that can be really good, like as in you're feeling way better about yourself and your life, or it can be really bad, and mine went that way. So I had to go get re-regimented, but I'm restabilized and good to go, hopefully. I really hope I don't have to go back because I don't want third time to be a charm.
Yeah, and there's only so many times I can get ghosted
Yeah.
without going crazy.
Yeah,
I mean, you
I
seem
know.
kind of happy to do the show last time. You look happier today, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe because last time you had your coat on and your hat and you were all like, covered up.
Yeah. No, I was so pissed too because the last time that I went, this last recent time, I was thinking, I was like, God, dude, Adam's gonna think I fucking ghosted him again because I didn't text you, and I was just thinking about like you like texting me being like, are you still there? Are you alive? Are you okay? And then I found out because like when I went, I just left like my phone and my wallet and everything at my parents' house. Because they don't let you have it in the facility. But then I find out that like if you did bring your phone or your wallet, they like put it in this special place, and then if you need to like access it for something, to like pay a bill or like get a phone number, you can use your phone. So then I was like really pissed because I was like, I would have bought my phone just to send you like a quick text and be like, be back in 5 days, you know?
How long were you in for?
10 days.
And then you said, oh, you were 10 days in there?
10 days,
Oh, wow.
yeah. Yeah, because they wanted to make sure I was stabilized. And then I spent a couple days at my parents' kind of just making sure. Because like I said, these things take really it's really about 6 weeks for you to be on the therapeutic level. But 2 weeks you start feeling it.
So it's not like you were crazy for 10 days, but you said the timetable is to see how the drugs are going to work?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, like any side effects, which I was having bad side effects. One of them was giving me tremors really bad on my body. I was just shaking like crazy, and it's just like I can't really explain it, but for me, the medications that weren't working, it just made me feel like I was crawling out of my skin, if that makes any sense. I just didn't feel right. Everything, something, you can't pinpoint it, but hey, something is not right. And so I decided to be proactive, and before my life went to chaos again, I took care of it, and I'm back and good to go now. And my medications have been working really well so far.
You definitely look better physically. Maybe,
Thank you.
like I said, maybe it's
put
just...
on 10 pounds.
You did? All right. Well,
Yeah,
that's good.
yeah, I did.
All right. So as far as we know, things are getting better there.
Yes.
And do you have a few resolutions, like New Year's resolutions or whatever?
Yeah. Obviously, number one is I want to prioritize my mental and physical health. I want to gain a little bit more weight. I want to make sure, my brain's okay. And I think that should be something that everyone, all you listeners, should prioritize too.
I don't know if everyone's trying to gain weight. Maybe some people are.
Oh, yeah?
but-
Yeah, well, I mean, whatever makes you happy,
Yeah.
whatever makes you happy. I need to get a job at some point,
Yeah,
very soon.
Yeah, that's a common
So,
thing to do.
I'm gonna look for a job. Maybe not today, but tomorrow I might start reaching out there. I don't know, I guess go online and look for stuff. I want to find a hobby outside. I mean, this is my only hobby right now. I
Right.
don't know what do 30-year-olds do? I feel like besides go to the bar as activities, I feel like I'm too young to take up knitting.
Yeah, you're not quite there yet.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Maybe cross stitching.
Yeah, whatever that is.
I think it's just a different type of knitting. I'm not sure.
Is that the thing where they have the a needle and some kind of small
Yeah.
yarn, and they have the metal round thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it is actually. Yeah, that's exactly what that is.
Because there's one Starbucks I would go to once in a while. It seemed like whatever day I went there, there's this knitting group.
What? Okay, then I need to hit that up because I feel like it'd be really cool to learn how to knit and
Yeah.
handy
Yeah.
in life or death situations. If the world ended and it got cold, I could knit myself a sweater if
Yeah.
I knew how to knit and I had the supplies.
Yeah, it was a weird thing. It's like, nah, that doesn't look like a group I really want to be part of.
You never know. You
Ma-
could be making blankets for the world.
Yeah, well, or, I don't know.
And then I think my last resolution is I want to learn how to cook one thing, but I want to perfect it. Because I don't know how to cook anything outside of frying an egg and some bacon. I can do breakfast, but that's about it. So I want to learn one thing to cook and I want to do it perfect. And I'm trying to figure out what that is.
I got an idea.
Yeah?
Well, two things. One could be brownies.
Brownies? I feel like those are easy to make unless you're making them with pot. And then that could be difficult.
Yeah, I have a story from a long time ago.
Uh-oh.
That wasn't a fun story, but I'll just say it's not fun when you don't know what's happening.
Oh, now I'm very interested.
But yeah, we'll do that sometime.
Okay.
I think that meatless lasagna would be an awesome thing for you to learn how to cook.
Oh my gosh, that's okay. That's actually really funny you brought that up because I normally for my whole life I've never really eaten beef, kind of just a personal choice.
Yeah.
And the last time I was inpatient, I pretty much was on a hunger strike because the food was so bad there. Terrible. It was disrespectful. Let's be realistic. It was disrespectful.
They're just trying to get you all better, and they're like, "This girl's on a hunger strike."
Yeah, and all I had was I was prescribed one of those Ensure drinks or whatever. So I was just living off of that, and then they had vending machines, so I was living off that and cupcakes from the vending machine. And so this second time I really wanted to put some weight on, so I was I'm going to eat this food even if it's disgusting, and they put me on this medication that increased my appetite. So at this point, I don't care what it is, I'm going to eat it. And one day it said on the menu it was cheese lasagna with meat sauce. So I was okay, so beef lasagna. At this point, I had given up on not eating beef. I'm like, I'm a beef eater now. I just need, because everything was like cheeseburger one day and then like lasagna, whatever. So I was like, I eat beef now. That's fine. I've gotten over it. And I get to the line and she's like asking me if I want everything. And I'm looking down at the lasagna and it was literally just beef and then the noodles, and then they put a slice of American craft cheese on top and melted it.
Wow.
It was the most disgusting thing, but I ate 2 rounds.
So when you check into this place, are you sure you're not actually checking into jail and they're being nice and telling you what's up?
Okay, it kind of seems like that, but like the place that I went to is actually very nice compared to like a lot of places. But yeah, the food is like nothing to write home about. Like I looked at it and it's just this like giant yellow melted piece on top of what resembles lasagna, and I was like, all right, I had to tough it out. But I guess all they had was Kraft cheese, that government cheese, you know.
So my resolutions, when I go to work, I'll talk to people at the bar. I'll say, what are your resolutions?
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't want to make one.
Yeah, because you just fail at it most of the time.
And it puts pressure on you, but that's the whole point of doing it, because I've taken some psychology classes before, and when you make a public declaration you're going to do something, it's more likely you're going to follow through.
Yeah.
So sometimes it is good to have some pressure on you
So
to,
here we
to
are.
do things. Okay. One of mine is to have healthy habits.
Okay.
Which could include a lot of stuff. It'll include eating better for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But generally starting things early, like any task, or starting my day early.
Mm-hmm.
So today was a good example where I was up
You were up early.
kind of late, but I got
No,
up early because my plan was we were going to do the show at 12 or so, and I want to hit the gym before that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, things got interrupted a little bit because my son called me, and his car needed to be towed to the shop. So he was at work, so I had to go to his work and pick up a key from him and then bring it to the shop.
Love that.
Yeah, and it wouldn't have been too far off, except once I got the key and started driving to the Briggs Plus or whatever it was, which was near the gym I was going to, I realized, I don't know if we communicated properly as to which shop he was having it towed to. So, of course, I called him and he said, no, it's the other one by the other gym. It didn't take that much longer, but it's just one of those things.
But you started your day early, so.
Yeah, so I got some cardio workout in and some chin-ups. And then, of course, going earlier to the gym, there's more females there.
Oh, yeah, definitely a bonus.
Yeah, and that's something I've always known. Just generally, if you start your day earlier, you're going to be rewarded in...
Females.
Yeah, well, yeah. Ideally that, but many different ways.
Yeah.
And I'll always tell people that, especially people that are in my business that stay up late. And I always say, start your day earlier. You'll get so much more done. Even if you're operating a little bit inefficiently, you'll get way more done.
Yeah.
And a lot of people push back against it and say, well, I need my rest, or no, you shouldn't get up that early. You need to rest. But if you're really trying to accomplish something, there's times where you just can't get all the rest you want. I mean, that's not the real world. And definitely someone like me who's really behind the 8 ball, who's at my age, doesn't have money, doesn't have some things he needs, I can't just sleep as much as I want and expect magically that things will happen, because obviously that hasn't happened.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I mean, I come from a family of big nappers. Like, I can put in like a solid 16 hours.
Oh,
if
damn, that's
I
crazy.
have, like, easy, no
Wow.
problem. But I found, and this was something that actually, like, again, inpatient helped me with, because when you're in there, the schedule is so structured. You wake up and then there's like a smoke break if you're a smoker, and then there's breakfast, and then there's this group, and then you have to see your psychiatrist, and then you have to see the medical doctor, then there's another group, and blah blah blah. And so I didn't really have much time to nap, and that has like followed with me through my regular life now. Like, I wake up at 8 a.m. and then like about like 10 or noon or so, I'm like, I'm ready for a nap, and you think it's just going to be like a short hour and it's going to make you feel refreshed. But for me, I feel like personally not taking that nap, I get so much more done, and I'm really not that much more tired at the end of the day. It's not like I'm dragging ass, like, oh my God, that nap would have saved me. You know?
And also when you accomplish things, you feel so much better.
And it energizes you.
Energy builds energy.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Whenever your life isn't going right and you're down, you got to find some way to tilt the scales.
Yeah, like for me, like even just like taking that hour, I picked up reading again. I'm reading Stephen King's Salem's Lot. I'm almost finished. It's great. I love Stephen King. He's like one of my favorite authors. But
Yeah, I saw that movie. God, back in the
Yeah.
back in the 70s, I think.
yeah, my mom bought me the book, and it says now major motion picture film, and I was like, I think that was a while ago.
I think I'll have to double check. I think David Soul from Starsky and Hutch was in there. Have you
Yeah.
heard of that show?
It's Starsky and Hutch, yeah.
Yeah, so that was the cop show in the
Yeah.
in the late 70s.
With the is that the one with the car with the
Yeah,
rebel
the Zebra
flag?
3. No, that's Dukes of Hazzard.
Okay.
So Starsky and Hutch, they were undercover cops. I forget what city they were in. It could have been
Yeah.
L.A. And before that, cops were not that exciting, but they were like a little bit better looking, kind of cooler.
Yeah.
They put a little bit of humor into the show.
Yeah.
But their car was this big red car with a big white stripe down it called the
Okay.
Zebra 3. And so, of course, it's funny because they're supposed to be undercover, but they have this car that totally sticks out. Mm-hmm. And then they did a movie of it
Yeah.
15 years ago, Owen Wilson and Ben Stiller.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking of. Okay.
Yeah, and that is, to me, that's like probably the most underrated comedy I could think of.
Really?
It's so good because it's good on its own, but it's got all these little pop culture references from the past.
And is
that-
Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson?
Yeah, they play Starsky and Hutch.
So it's like Zoolander. Like they both played in Zoolander. Oh, I have to look that up.
Yeah, but you have to watch a couple episodes of the show to get
Okay.
a bit of a vibe.
Okay.
And then you see the movie, and so there's little things in it. For example, there is a pimp Starsky and Hutch would use to get information from.
Yeah.
So they'd kind of let him do his little pimp thing, but he'd tell them if there was, when they're looking for a big time drug dealer murder,
Yeah.
he'd give them a little information on the side.
Snitching.
Yeah, and he would say stuff like, yeah, little birdie told me, they're moving some big stuff down on the pier tonight. And then he'd say, by the way, this conversation never happened. And then they'd say, what conversation?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so it was things like that
Yeah.
that are cliches now, but back
Yeah.
then, no one heard someone say
And
stuff
so it
like
was
that.
really funny,
Like
yeah.
a little birdie told me. And the Huggy Bear was the name of the pimp.
Okay.
And he was this tall, skinny black dude. And in the movie, Snoop Dogg played him. He's just like
Oh,
the
that's
perfect guy.
perfect.
Yeah, perfect. But it's such a good movie.
I have to watch it. Yeah, because I remember seeing them. I remember I remember it being in the movies, but I never saw it. I don't think. I don't know. We'll find out. To be continued.
Yeah, but if you watch, I mean, you're staying at your parents' house some of the time now, right?
Yeah.
So
I have cable again.
yeah, so get with your dad, make him watch a few episodes
Yeah.
of Starsky and Hutch with you. He'll have a good time doing it, I'm
Yeah.
sure. And then at some point, watch the movie. Maybe you could watch it with me so you
Mm-hmm.
could understand everything that's going on.
All right. Yeah, you could explain it.
Yeah, but
That's my other New Year's resolution to watch Starsky and Hutch.
yeah, I mean that's a very. I'm gonna have to add that to my list because it's way more important than everything else. I'm just checking our time here. So healthy habits, which mainly starting the day early.
Yeah.
Another thing is don't be perfect, just go. Because sometimes I'm doing stuff and I'm just trying to make sure everything's lined up perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it's some small tasks for that day or just things you're planning in general,
Mm-hmm.
you can get bogged down so much by wanting everything to be exactly
Yep.
right.
Trying to be perfectionist.
Yeah. And just in so many ways in my life, that's hurt me before. Even with girls, because there's times where maybe years ago I got a girl's number and, I had my son that I was raising and everything, and it wasn't like the perfect day off to go on this great date. And I would put it off, and eventually I'd feel stupid for calling because I put it off too long. Or I finally call and they think I have a girlfriend because I waited so long to call, because this girl's like,
So
hey,
you're ghosting just as much as I am.
yeah, the girls would be like, I'm a good-looking chick, and this guy took 2 weeks to call. What's wrong with him,
Like, I feel like for me, I would be like, okay, so he probably went through like 3 or 4 other girls, and then was just like, all right, I guess I'll call this one,
Yeah,
Like,
and as a bartender, I know I'm getting stereotyped.
yeah,
and I'll go,
definitely.
Yeah, and, I'll go over that later, too, at some point, I'm sure.
that's
But
a
you're definitely
big
getting
thing.
stereotyped as a bartender.
Yeah.
Building new friendships and
Mm-hmm.
trying to reconnect with some family is one of them.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like I don't have all the right friends in my life. Like
Yeah.
people that I really want to do stuff with. Mm-hmm. It's harder when you get older to make new friends.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember being young, like having my first apartment when I was like 18.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, there's some dudes across the hall. Hey, let's have some drinks together.
Yeah,
Oh, we're
yeah.
great friends. And the older you get, it's just harder to just open up to people.
Well, I mean, like, here I am, 30 years old, inquiring about the Starbucks knitting club. Yeah, it definitely does. Like, I don't feel like I know anyone that I could just go hang out with right now. Besides, like, my boyfriend or, like, my mom or my grandma. My grandma could always use help.
Yeah.
She calls me constantly. Like, it's funny because we got her a TV with cable, like basic cable, because she just watches like the news and like The Price is Right and shit like that. And I swear every other day I get a call and she's like, my TV's not working, the damn TV broke again. And I don't know what she's doing to make it mess up, but I have to like completely like restart the router every time. And I'm like, I don't even know what the hell you're doing. So yeah, finding new friends is definitely harder when you're older.
Yeah, other than your grandmother, you mean?
Yeah, unless you want to hang out with grandmas and knit. That's where my life is going, I guess. I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Well, we'll see. I can't wait to go to the Starbucks and see if you're part of the knitting club.
Oh, dude, and cross stitch. I'll be doing both at the same time.
Yeah. Is there a third style of knitting?
I don't.
Crocheting, is that?
Crochet, yeah.
Is that different?
I think that's different. Yeah, that's got to be different. It's a different name. Duh.
Okay. Yeah, maybe you could knit me a pillow cover. I don't know.
Yeah. Sewing, that's another one I could do.
Oh, actually, Kmart said she was going to sew my leopard print pillow that's fallen apart, now that I mentioned that.
Oh.
Now that you mentioned that. So I have to bring that into work. Okay, so somehow build some new friendships and also be myself more, obviously. I've done a better job of that because that was one of my resolutions from a couple of years ago. But sometimes you get in a rut and you don't feel like yourself.
Yeah.
But if you're with the same group of people for a while, like I've worked at the same place for a while, people don't know the different sides of you that have existed over your life because they see you in this snapshot in time, just like someone you may date or just become a friend with. They don't know everything you've been, because sometimes I look back and I think about fun times and fun things I used to do, and I can't do everything I used to do, but there are things that I've done that I want to do again.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm explaining that properly.
Yeah, that was very vague.
Yeah. Yeah, there's things I want to do. Well, one example is at work a couple of years ago, I asked this girl out, and she used to work there, and then she had quit, so it wasn't that awkward. But everyone was really surprised about it. They all thought, oh, I couldn't believe, I had no idea you'd be interested in her. And I thought, well, that's weird because we got along well, and she might have been a little young for me, but what I realized was that I hadn't had a girlfriend in a while, so it made people assume that I just wasn't into girls. Not that I was gay, but just didn't really care much about that stuff. And I would think it's obvious, because I remember when I was younger, say working at that Tolbert's bar I'll talk about when I was in my 20s, like all of us guys there, we all assumed we all liked girls or were into, whatever was happening.
Women.
Yeah. So if a new girl started working there, like good-looking new girl, we were like, hey, did you see this girl?
It's like a Shark Tank.
and if there was a good-looking girl who was sitting at a table, I'd be like, hey, did you see the girl at table 27? No, did you? No, I saw her first. No, I saw her first. Like, it was obvious,
That's my table, yeah.
Yeah, so then years later, it was just almost amazing to me that some people thought I wouldn't be interested in this girl or that girl.
Or any girls, Like,
yeah. So it's definitely good to be yourself, because then if you're yourself more obviously, sometimes you just have to go out and talk about stuff like, oh, I like that girl over there. Oh, so you're interested in meeting a girl. And then people might start doing things like, hey, there's this girl I know you might like, or, you should talk to that girl over there. I don't know if that all makes sense to you.
Yeah, it definitely does. Like, what you're talking about, I ended up in a relationship just basically based off of that.
Based off of me not being myself?
No, like, just people assuming that one thing is the way that it is. Like, so I started hanging out with this guy, and then he would come into the bar with me as a customer, and I would come in, to work and stuff, and people just started seeing us coming in and like leaving together so often that they just made it a relationship. And then we were just like, okay, I guess we're in a relationship. And then we moved in together, and then he started working there with me, and it was just like, and then we were going on like vacations with our boss, like, and it was just so funny because neither of us really wanted to date each other to begin with, but everyone just put us in this you know, in this label because they kept seeing us together. And it was 2.5 years, man, that I spent with this person. And it's just, yeah, like it's hard to differentiate like work and like who you are outside of work, because people that you work with just see you that one way, you know?
Yeah, that's kind of a funny story. So it's almost like the opposite. So you got forced into a relationship by assumptions, and then I probably got
forced out.
forced out or neglected from having relationships because of whatever people saw. But it is a weird thing. I've noticed at bars I've worked at, the bar I worked at, you know, for a long time, this bar or the past bars I worked at for a long time, a lot of times guys would come in and they come in alone. They're regular customers. They seem like normal guys, but you wouldn't see him with a girlfriend or anything. So, and I didn't think anything of it. I just thought, hey, this guy, he's gotten a little older. He's lost his game. You know, he's not good at picking up chicks anymore. But there were a lot of waitresses or other bartenders I worked with who would start thinking these guys are gay because they don't see him with a girl.
Really?
Yeah. And I just thought that was so funny. I said, no, I mean, I've talked to that guy. I mean, he used to be married. You know, I've talked before how guys come into bars and if they haven't had a relationship or girlfriend for a while, they kind of have their defenses up and they say stuff like, oh, you know, I'm just here to have a good time. I'm not here to meet women. And then, but then other people pick up on it, like the bartenders, and they think, oh, this guy's gay. He doesn't even like girls. So
I would just think that person had like low self-confidence, but they're definitely there to try to meet a girl, you know?
Yeah, pretty much. When I say something like this, people are surprised. Pretty much any guy who's not married and likes girls, you know, when they're at a bar, when you see them there, they'd like to meet a girl.
Yeah, that's the best solution that can happen.
They'll enjoy talking to other people. They might enjoy watching a game.
They're not gonna have a bad time no matter what, but if they had it their way.
Yeah, it's like I said, like they're waiting for that magical thing to happen where that beautiful girl sits next to them, the beautiful intelligent girl, and just starts talking to them.
There's only one bar seat and it's next to them, and they just hit it off, and then 3 months later they're, you know, in a relationship, and then 5 years later, white picket fence, 2.5 kids, all that shit.
Yeah, and that's the thing I talk about, which I'll talk about more, that you have to put yourself out there. You have to, you know, it's very rare that girl does just sit down next to you and start talking with you. You have to make some kind of effort, but part of it is putting it out there that you're interested, because you don't put it out there that you're interested, you're not yourself, then all these other people aren't going to help you, because most people, when they're in a relationship, it's really, most people meet them through friends or through work.
Yeah, but if you don't have friends...
Yeah, if you don't have friends, let's get
and people are assuming that you're one way at work, then what do you do?
Yeah, or if you're hanging out at the bar and people assume you're not interested in these girls, you know, you have to let people know that, I am interested, and you have to swallow your pride and sometimes be like me and say, hey, my game isn't what it used to be. But I'm still interested.
Yeah, I feel like it's a lot rougher nowadays, too, because women... I don't want to say that women are more conscious and like hesitant to talk to men just because of, you know, things that happen, but I think it's talked about more freely and more openly now, so like everyone is more aware of it. So like I feel like a lot of times conversations don't happen or connections are not made because you don't want to offend someone, or you don't want to like make them feel uncomfortable, you know, because like nowadays it's not just like, oh, I accidentally made that person feel uncomfortable, and like either you didn't realize that you did that and you just go on about your life, or like you did and you learn from it and you move on. Well, nowadays it's like you get canceled and then you lose your job and your wife and everything, you know, and it's like you were just asking for like if you could use a napkin or something like that. So yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult.
Yeah, but at some point, you know, if you're a guy wanting to meet a girl, you do have to take a little chance.
Yeah, you do.
You have to at least talk to someone, and maybe it goes somewhere. The girl could say no, as you mentioned. The girl could say no if she wants to, but people should be open to talking to each other and seeing what happens.
That's what the bar is for.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, I'm thinking about it. It's like, I need more friends and I need more hobbies, and it's like, especially like, you know how, you know, bar culture is like, you go to work.
Speaking of which, are you on something where you're not supposed to drink, or what's going on with that, with your medications?
I'm not I mean, they obviously are going to advocate for me not to drink. I have had a couple cocktails here and there, but I'm pretty much staying sober for the most part.
Right, not leaving your
I don't do
license at the
drugs
bar.
anyway. I'm not cool enough to do drugs anymore. I just go knit at Starbucks. But yeah, I mean, I'm taking it. I don't want to say like sober January like everyone's doing, but pretty much is what I'm doing. Just focusing on finding friends and doing things and stuff, you know. But that's hard because, like I said, with bar culture, it's like you go to work and you hang out with, you know, the people you work with and the regulars that come to the bar, and then like a lot of times on your day off, you'll go to see, you know, your friend who's a bartender at another bar, or you'll come up to your job just because you had to get your money from the night before, but then you end up staying all night having drinks and stuff. And so it's really hard because it's like I want to find people that I can be friends with and interact with, but I don't want to do it I don't want to have to get shit-faced drunk while I do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's
a tough thing to do.
Yeah, there's
sometimes.
not like a sober bar. I guess maybe a coffee shop. I hate coffee though. I freaking hate coffee and tea. So that's like kind of out of. I mean, I guess
Yeah.
I could pretend like I like it.
They have other stuff at Starbucks.
Yeah, just get a cookie and hang out.
But, yeah, I've talked to people at Starbucks before. It's not always easy.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a culture there, especially if you go like 7:30 or 8, like right before
Mm-hmm.
work. You'll see a lot of people there who kind of know each other.
Strange.
Yeah.
See, it's so weird to think about that there's like regulars that go to Starbucks, you know? Like, I just think about it only like at bars.
Probably in maybe in other cities they have coffee bars that are more sociable.
Yeah.
All right, so we got some New Year's resolutions going. There's a Taco Bell thought for the new year.
Uh-oh.
No, it's
Does
nothing
it
too
involve
bad.
Pete Davidson?
No, so I went to Taco Bell a couple of weeks ago, and I got my 3 taco special. So I asked for 12 hot sauce because you probably know I do 4 sauces per taco.
Of
which-
course.
A little more than most people do, but nothing crazy.
You like it saturated.
Yeah, and there's plenty of people who've gone to Taco Bell or whatever, and they get home and there's like 1 taco packet, you know, 1 packet of sauce.
That's terrible.
Yeah, so I always check. But sometimes, you know, they don't really listen. They just put a whole bunch in there. So I got
Yeah.
home, I saw there were enough in there, and there's probably like 50 packets of sauce. That's the employee, like, he wants 12 packs, I'll give him 50.
Yeah.
So some people, like me, I have a plastic bag that has extra
All the sauces in it?
like ketchups, whatever, fast food stuff. So I think one good New Year's thing to do is you throw out your ones from the last year
Yeah.
and start your whole new collection.
Oh, but I saw that. I was at my parents' house and I pulled out that exact bag because I was looking for
Oh, yeah.
food. I just wanted something to snack on, like a string cheese or something. But I pulled out, it was like a bag with a bunch of different sauces in it, and I was like, I just put mine in the packing drawer because I believe that sauces don't ever expire.
It probably takes them a while.
I mean, yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I worked at Chick-fil-A for almost 5 years, and I don't remember seeing expiration dates on the sauces.
5 years?
Yeah.
How old are you?
I
To
know.
have worked there for that long.
Too old, I know. Like, every time I tell people, I'm like, I bartended for 11 years, and they're like, how old are you? Like,
Yeah.
I started working at 14.
5
so-
years at Chick-fil-A, 11 years of bartending. I guess that adds up.
Yeah,
Unless you
yeah.
tell me something else, like I worked 8 years at the Knitting Emporium or whatever.
No,
but-
not yet. That's my next venture, maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see. Just go start working at a Joann's. That actually could be fun. I could do that. If they have benefits.
I mean, I've gone to, what's the other artistic places? Not Joann's, but there's
Hobby Lobby.
Hobby Lobby?
Yeah, I was there like 3 days ago.
Yeah, there's times where I've gone there to get some Christmas stuff.
Yeah.
And there's usually some good-looking girls walking around in there.
A lot of grandmas too, though. A lot of grandmas.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I can avoid that. I don't think that's what I was going for.
No, you were just there to get crafty.
Let's see. Everything's been pretty cool at Target lately. I told you I got the right toilet paper.
Yeah.
The mustard, speaking of sauces, was a bit of a problem. So I like the Grey Poupon spicy mustard,
Okay.
and they don't seem to have that anymore.
I didn't even know they had a spicy version.
Yeah, so for the mustard, say for mustard and mayo, I know we talked about mayo before.
Yeah.
I like to get the plastic thing that you could store upside down in the fridge and just squeeze.
And squeeze it? Yeah.
Yeah. Some
Much
people
better than having to pull a knife out.
Yeah, some people still go old school with.
Screw that. It's 2024. This is future, baby.
Yeah. So, and I have to get Grey Poupon.
Yeah.
Let's see. Can you figure out the reason why?
No.
Okay. So,
Am I supposed to know?
so there's this old commercial where I think two limos pull up to each other at a traffic light, and the guy rolls down the window, and the other guy rolls it down, and he goes, "Do you have any Grey Poupon?"
Yes.
So in Wayne's World, in the movie, you know, they're driving around their piece of crap gremlin, and they pull up to the limo with the light, and then rolls down the window, and he asks the guy if he has any Grey Poupon. So
Please tell me you have Grey Poupon in your car right now.
no,
wait, no, you're supposed to ask. Never mind. That wouldn't work. You could do it reverse.
yeah. But anyway, they didn't have the Grey Poupon I like, so I got this other brand,
Yeah.
like some spicy mustard.
Target brand. Grey Poupon.
Yeah, I think I went to Kroger because Target didn't have it. So then I went to Kroger because I was like, Target, they're trying to, you know.
You go to a lot of grocery stores, man.
Well, no, just when I think Target's trying to mess with me, but usually they're not. I find
Some
out. But then,
conspiracy
like, okay,
theory against Target.
I'm going to Kroger and I'm going to park in my diagonal spot and then hope that that guy doesn't ask me out.
Spot.
But they didn't have the Grey Poupon spicy either, so they had this little spicy one that was in an easy to use container. So I've had that before. It's decent. So
I just order my groceries online now. I hate grocery stores so much. I would rather die than go into a grocery store. And it's so funny because like if you order something and they're out of it, they'll try to like replace it with something that's similar, but it's never anything similar. It's like you'll ask, like I said, like a string cheese, and they're like, "We're out of string cheese, so we got you a bag of tomatoes." And I'm like, but at this point, I'm so lazy that I'm like, cool, I'll eat tomatoes for a week. I don't care. You charge me the same price. That's fine. Thank you, Walmart driver. Here's your $10 tip.
That sounds pretty funny if they do that.
Yeah, like, but it's like, what, like, I need to know what the mechanism is of choosing what the next most similar item is. Because, like, for me, if, like, you're out of string cheese, I'm going to get you regular cheese or a block of cheese. Maybe ask if you want, I don't even know, like, not tomatoes, though. It's very strange. It's probably too complicated for me to understand.
Yeah, they probably have you on a list.
They know
of
what's
like,
best. They know what's best for
this
me.
is one of those girls who's not going to complain, so we're just going to give her whatever we feel like.
She's gonna tip no matter what, and I do. And the fee for it is only like $5 or $10, and I'm like, I would easily pay $5 or $10 more to not go in Walmart, especially now that they don't have the cashiers and everyone's like, you have to self checkout for yourself, and like people just don't know how to do that for some reason.
I saw an article about that today, how some grocery stores are thinking about their self-checkout thing because maybe stuff's getting stolen.
All the time.
And then, I mean, I love the self-checkout.
Yeah, I personally do, but I also know how to use it.
Yeah, and I probably have a self-checkout story. Hold on, let me write that down for next time. Hold on.
All right.
But they were talking about how some customers said that they like the socializing of going through the line to buy. Like, they like to be able to say, "Oh, hey, how are you doing today?" to the cashier. And
and that's why they don't like the self-checkout?
Yeah, but it sounded like they were really, in that article, really reaching for a reason. Like, I don't know, I never went to the grocery store thinking, man, I can't wait to get on the line so I could say, how are you doing, to the cashier.
But you never know. For some people, that's the only social interaction they get throughout the whole day, you know?
Well, that person needs to go to a bar.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. They go to a bar, damn.
I mean, hopefully they're not an alcoholic who can't drink anymore, but yeah, they need to go to a bar because the social interaction at the checkout is just not the...
Yeah, it's sad though, especially like older people. Like my mom was telling me like this next week she's taking one of her patients to go to an eye doctor because this woman is like 93 years old, little spitfire, still drives, still lives on her own, all that stuff, but she has no family around that lives with her, and like she needs like medical help, like advice and stuff. And so my mom's taking her to the eye appointment and stuff, and she's talking about how she comes to her, like my mom is an oncology nurse, so she's talking about how she goes to her chemo appointments because she's excited because she gets to socialize. And I'm like, that is so sad. Oh man, take care of the old people. Like people, reach out to your grandparents and stuff, because sometimes it is like that's the only interaction people get in a day. And then when you do the self-checkout shit, now you're just talking to another computer.
Yeah, well, I like the self-checkout. And then the one Target I go to, there's this Russian lady who's worked there for years.
Yeah.
And when I started going there, my son was like 3. So it's
Yeah.
just kind of funny that she's still there, and she said, "Oh, how's your little boy?
Yeah.
He's in college and all everything."
Yeah.
It's just funny that this person's been around so long. So when you live in an area, I just have these weird, little mini relationships with the person at Target, the person at Taco
Yeah.
Bell, whatever. It's kind of funny.
Well, it used to be a lot more social too, because you remember, like, back in the day, they had the greeters at Walmart. It was just like an old person sitting on a chair that was like, "Hello, welcome to Walmart." And then if you were a kid, they would give you that sticker with
Yeah.
the smiley face. Like, that was a whole ass job. And now we just don't
Yeah.
have any of it.
Yeah, a lot of the time I don't like Walmart. I mean, they have some good stuff, but it's like there might be a greeter, but then when you need to help with something, it's just
Yeah, see,
it's not there.
I much prefer Target, but I'm also not allowed in Target because I can't seem to go to Target without spending like $300. Because I
But-
love everything there.
Yeah, plus they have the straight-in parking spaces, which don't work for you. Right?
Yeah, I'm not too good at that. Hey, I parked right in front of your house today, though.
No,
So
we'll check it out. So, Vanessa, my ex-girlfriend, she
Yes.
didn't like going to grocery stores
yeah,
because she likes going to concerts.
yeah,
And she said, I don't know, maybe it's just like the concert thing is where everyone obviously likes the group or whatever
Mm-hmm.
they're going to see. So maybe everyone's of a similar mind. But
in a good mood.
yes, but for the grocery store, I don't know, she doesn't trust the people. She just
Yeah.
thinks there's bad people out there. Why don't
What
you
is
wanna
their
go-
motive?
Yeah,
Yeah.
why don't you want to go there? Oh, no, there's just, people are shitty. There's just
Mm-hmm.
shitty people out there.
I get that. I get that.
So, since you kind of tricked me into talking about Vanessa with the grocery store thing,
So sneaky.
you are very sneaky. I guess I'll have to go into the epilogue.
It's
Which-
about time.
Yeah, I was hoping this would be way behind me, but some of the shows got delayed. So
Yeah.
I think that when I was talking about her and our going through our relationship and stuff, I think I was pretty fair about things. I like to think that I didn't get too intrusive into her life and give too many details.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot of stuff I didn't go that deeply into to protect the innocent and whatnot. And it was overwhelmingly positive. I mean, at least probably 95% positive, because that's what the relationship was until the very end. So anyway, the last time we talked about it a couple episodes ago, it ended.
Yes.
So-
Abruptly.
Yeah, abruptly. So what the hell happened? Let's look at the facts of the case. Everything was going great, including her talking about us going on a vacation, her wanting me to spend more time at her house, meeting her kids, all that stuff. Everything going great. She went out to the country for a family thing, and the first night there, she called and was still missing me. Everything was great still. And then she got back in town, and a couple of days later, stopped talking to me. So, pretty abrupt. So I'm trying to think, okay, what happened out there? I have to think go back to when, right when we started dating, she said she had been visiting her dad pretty regularly out there, taking care of him. And she was like the shining light of the family. Definitely, his little shining light.
Yeah.
And then they had a falling out when we started, and then they didn't talk for a couple months, maybe like 3 months, I'm not sure how long. And at that time, when they had their falling out argument, he told her he was disappointed in her, the way she was handling things.
Like between him and her, or just like in general?
Between him and her,
Okay.
she was helping out, as I said before, with some medical stuff and
Yeah.
probably some other things around the house and everything. I feel like there was a trial conducted. I was put on trial out there by him and probably other members of her family without me being there. So I could see, I'm sure they were asking her about me, and she was talking about this awesome guy she's going out with and everything.
Yeah.
And I could see them asking, how old is he? He's 55. Oh, what does he do? He's a bartender. Well,
And that was a red flag?
yeah, that could be a red flag. There's definitely going to be stereotypes of a bartender, even a younger one, that, they're just out there to party. They just use people. They just care about making their money, drinking, and that's it. So I could see them thinking along those lines. And then, does he have a lot of money? Does he have a house? What's going on? No, he doesn't have a house. He really just kind of told me that his financial prospects aren't looking that good at the moment.
Yeah. Do you think she'd be that honest, though? With them? Because, like...
I would think if they're questioning her about it, and kind of putting her
Yeah.
on the spot,
Yeah.
you know, I could definitely see that coming out. I mean,
Yeah.
those things are true. There's nothing wrong with talking about the truth. And then I could see them saying, well, what do you guys do together? And she might say, well, a lot of the times, you know, on Sunday nights we'd get together and
Yeah.
drink and have fun and everything.
Yikes.
And there's also her past of dating various guys where they were going nowhere. You know, she was probably putting more into the relationship. They're going nowhere. There's at least one case, maybe a couple, where she was seriously dating someone and didn't even know they're drinking a case of beer a day or doing drugs and stuff.
So you were kind of put in that box.
So I could see them thinking something like, well, okay, so the days you see him, he's drinking, which isn't totally true because there were plenty of times we got together on weekdays where it wasn't. I could see them saying, you know what? He's just like those other guys. You know,
Yeah.
he doesn't have any money. The days you don't see him, you know what? He's getting drunk those days too. You know it. He's at work getting drunk.
Which, like I said earlier, is a very big stereotype that is a lot of times true.
Yeah, it definitely can be true. I could see them catching her off guard with that. And maybe her forgetting things like, well, actually, he's taking a couple of classes right now. He calls me every day. We talk on the phone at night. And, you know, he's been a single dad for years, raising his kid. He's helping his kid get through college. Some of that stuff could be forgotten about when you're confronted with these things.
Yeah, when you're put under pressure.
Yeah, so I think they definitely might have convinced her about that. Her father could also be incentivizing her, I might say, with, well, if you can spend more time out here, I can give you some of my land that I own or something like
Okay,
that.
like monetary.
Yeah, so I think there could have been some financial incentives / threats, however you want to word it.
But that, I don't know, because I mean, like, yeah, maybe she could spend more time out there, help out around there more for more cash, whatever. But I don't necessarily think that would lead to her breaking up with you, like, completely the way she did. Like, I maybe just being like, hey, like, I need to, like, pull back a little bit. That
Yeah.
would make sense.
Yeah, so not completely. So
Yeah.
at the same time, a month before that, she mentioned a guy from her past that was coming at her. And I feel like there's a good reason to believe something back in my memory saying that he knows her family, whether her sister or
He
someone
was
in
in
her family,
town.
possibly even being invited in town.
Yeah.
So I could see her dad or other family members saying, hey, you know,
So and so's here. You
yeah,
should
so
meet
and
up
so's
here.
here. He could help you out better financially.
Yeah.
This other guy, Adam, you know, next thing you know, he's going to be moving in with you. Then he's not going to be able to pay rent.
And he's gonna be mooching off
yeah,
of you.
and I could see them going through this scenario of all these other guys she went out with.
So you think they like tried to like they essentially set her up?
Yeah, I think something like that happened. I mean, the guy was already trying to set himself up, and it's not like he's some scrub. He's some guy she knew for years and years
Yeah.
and already liked. And if I wasn't around, probably would have responded to when he communicated with her recently. But when that communication happened, you know, she told me about it, and she said, the way I feel about you, I'm not even going to talk to this guy.
Yeah, but it's different when you see them in person.
Yeah, when you see someone in person, and also when there's some financial pressure put on you, because if her dad was saying, well, you need to be out here with me more, and if this guy could put her in a position where she could spend extra time out there with her dad,
Yeah.
help him through some health things, and possibly obtain, you know, some financial stuff, because I think people, they want to do good things. You know, a girl wants to be in a relationship with a guy, and in general they want to think, I'm not in this for the money. You know, if he doesn't have money, I'm still going to love him. You know, that's
Yeah.
not what's important. I think people really want to do the right thing. As you get older, and I can testify because I've gotten older over time,
Time has passed.
yeah, things that you didn't worry about, like if we were in our 20s and 30s, yeah, maybe not a worry, but now that she's in her 40s and has kids,
Yep.
and maybe doesn't have a big nest egg saved up, then the financial future
Yeah.
can be a lot more scary.
And realistically, I mean, like, it is a partnership, you know? So when you do get older, you have to think about those things like finances. Is their credit good? Blah, blah, blah. Like, that's probably why I mean, I'm not single, but I'm like not serious with anyone, and I'll probably be like that forever because I'm a hot mess. But like, I never thought about those things in my 20s. They never bothered me. I never would think about that like when I was talking to a guy. But yeah, like I could see that, and it would make sense more that that's why she ghosted you, because maybe she was just like too, I don't want to say ashamed, but she just was too uncomfortable to like admit to you that she was talking to that guy.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, that would always be an awkward thing to admit to.
Yeah, that's a tough, cookie to crumble.
I think the fact that maybe she told her family as she was about to introduce me to her kids, and I could see her father, other relatives saying,
freaking out. Yeah,
this is the time, like, if you have them over your house more and introduce them to the kids, then it's almost like there's no going back. This is that one point in time where you could break free, help me out. At the same time, this other guy wants to go out with you right now, who, I don't know how old the guy is. He could be 40s, 50s, something like that, I assume, who's probably more financially successful than me, because pretty much everyone that age is, I assume. But now's the perfect time to be in this position while you're still young, to start this new life with this new person and all that stuff. Or
maybe that person isn't even a factor in it. Maybe it's just like, hey, you're about to take a huge step and let this guy meet your kids. You need to decide right now to either cut it off or continue with that, because it is a big step,
Yeah, I don't think she would have backed out of that.
Yeah.
Unless there's another guy involved, because she felt comfortable with me. She knows I'm a dad.
Yeah.
She saw the way I was with her pets.
And she told you when she was talking to him, or when he, I guess, I'm assuming messaged her or whatever. Yeah. Did you ever go through her phone?
No, I never did that.
Yeah, I mean, that could have provided some context.
Is that a new thing people are supposed to do when they date?
I mean, apparently I would never, because like if someone went through my phone, they would just see my Google searches, and it would be so embarrassing. I would just have to like move to a remote planet. But yeah, a lot of people look through their significant other's phones and see what's going on. There's also a lot of ways to hide things now with technology and stuff and apps, but I mean, I feel like the fact that she told you that he messaged her kind of at least gives off, the assumption that she trusts you and that she's being honest with you.
Yeah, and I really think she was the whole time. I don't think there was.
You don't think she was like being sneaky?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Just the way she reacted to me whenever she talked to me or saw me was very consistent. So I don't think she cheated on me per se. I would say she betrayed me, because at the end, she kind of made it seem like she was going through one of her anxiety things, just like I haven't encountered before, but I've encountered it with you, where suddenly you're going through your stuff and you're not, you're not answering me. And I mentioned how she told me in the beginning that she had gone through periods like that.
Yeah.
So, I went under the assumption it was that, also knowing it could be something else, like some other guy. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think all these things happened. It was like a perfect storm of all these things happening at once. And I don't think she intended it to be that way. Like I said, I think she was a very good person. That's what was making me fall in love with her. Is just the way, not just the way she treated me, but the way she treated other people, her kids, animals, her family. I mean, she just seemed like such a good person. But even if you're a good person, at any point you could decide to be a bad person or whatever.
Or just disappear.
Yeah, and I'm not saying she's a terrible person. The way she treated me was definitely bad.
Yeah.
And I like to think that because of my sacrifice, she's helping out members of her family. Because the last time we talked, the last thing she said was, when she was drunk and upset, was that my family wants me to do something that will be sucking the life out of me. So, I mean, those are basically the last, almost the last words.
And you haven't talked to her at all?
Huh?
And nothing from her? You haven't seen her around? Nothing?
No. That was what gave me the impression that her family definitely had a role in it, because she said that when she was drunk and unencumbered, what's the word?
I don't know.
I know. But it definitely seemed like her family was wanting her to do something, and I think it sounds like a little bit of a wacky plot. Like, what are the odds that the family was against me and this guy at the same time, and they knew the guy? But there's so many times in life where it seems like it's a wacky plot, but it ends up being true.
Yeah.
It's like some true thing from a movie. And it's not the worst thing that's happened to anyone, for sure, because there's definitely, you watch stories on TV of, wives or husbands cheating on their person when they have a family, and they're cheating on them with the guy next door, and then, all those shows you watch on TV.
Yeah, and I've definitely been guilty of like the slow ghosting as well. Like, you start talking to someone, I'll like start, like I'm newly single, I'll start talking to someone, like openly dating people, and then like my ex comes back into the situation, and then all of a sudden I'm like, of course gonna go back to him, because like those emotions and feelings are already there.
Yeah.
Like they're already established. But then I'm like, now there's like this really nice guy that I've been talking to, and I'm too embarrassed to like, or I even want to say ashamed to like be like, hey, I'm going back to my ex. And so you just kind of don't say anything at all. And then I've even done one worse where like then me and my ex will break up again, and then I'll text him and be like, hey, remember me? But it's like, like you just don't want to be lonely, and like you want to like maybe see if something was there. Probably more like didn't want to be lonely.
Yeah, and it's, at different ages and things is permissible. Like when you're 21 and you do that. And also if you've only gone out with someone a few times, no one, I just think everyone should be able to talk to people, because like I said, everyone acts like, hey, if I need to tell someone something, I'm going to tell them.
But they never do.
Yeah, they don't. And a lot of times, like a guy will go on a date with a girl a couple times, and then she ghosts him. It's not the end of the world because it's only a couple dates in, but still, if you're an adult, just say, hey, I've got something else going on.
Yeah.
You could do that. And then if you ever meet up with them in a bar somewhere,
it's not awkward.
Yeah, at least you're honest.
Yeah.
And then, or maybe you're not going out with that person anymore, it also leaves the door open.
Yeah.
So if, if Vanessa had actually talked to me and said, hey, I've got some stuff going on, we're not going to see each other anymore, I wouldn't like it. I'm sure I would have tried to convince her that it's a bad idea, and maybe I would have convinced her. Maybe if she actually saw me in person and touched me, she'd realize I'm the one who she should be with. But either way, at least I'd be able to say, well, she was honest, she told me what was up, it sucks for me, but sometimes that's the way it goes. But it sucks when somebody you totally trust does that to you.
Yeah.
It just really sucked because she had at length talked about mental health stuff and how people should treat each other better and everything, and all the improvements she made.
Actions and words, baby. Actions speak louder than words.
Yeah, and apparently she lost her faith in me, but she really, it's kind of sad when I thought about it that she really lost her faith in herself, because she built herself into this awesome person, like a person who was better than she was before, just like she built herself into such a good person, and all of a sudden she took several steps back into something else. Like, okay, now you're just the typical girl out there just doing whatever, following the money and not even having the courtesy to talk to someone who's been there for you.
Yeah, but we don't know if that's the case at the end of the day.
That what?
That's what she did. That's the reason why we don't know if it was money based or
we
love
don't
based.
We don't know.
We don't know, and we would love to know.
Yeah.
So reach out to us. But
the intellectual curiosity, like even if I had a brand new girlfriend and everything was great, I'd want to know a little bit about what happened. But either way, whether it was money or love or a combination of both, it still doesn't excuse. She still became a worse person than she was.
Yeah.
Because that new relationship is never going to be pure like ours was, because it was born out of a betrayal.
Yeah. But you don't even know if there is a relationship. Or do you?
Yeah, pretty confident there was.
Okay. Yeah. But so I've experienced this at least a couple times, both me being like the recipient and the sender, where it's like, like things just fizzle between me and someone, and then like months, maybe even years later, like either they'll message me or I'll message them and just be like, hey, like what happened? Or if it's, I'm sending it, like maybe it's like me being like, hey, I'm really sorry that, I was a shit person and I didn't give you, the dignity, to like let you know that I wasn't digging this relationship. I didn't want to continue with it. And I'm apologizing, like I've had that happen a couple times in my life, and it's like refreshing because then you're like, all right, at least I know what actually happened, and you don't have the satisfaction of knowing what exactly did happen.
And anytime I meet up with some ex-girlfriend from the past, which just happens at times, there's never, I don't have any hard feelings.
Yeah.
And I don't think they do too, because whatever happened, I always treated them good. You know, there's definitely never any physical abuse or mental abuse for that matter. So I don't think any girl that I went out with would have something bad to say about me. Maybe when I was younger, they could say like, oh, he wasn't that attentive or something, or he was stupid, but never anything that bad. And, you know, I'd welcome the chance to meet, you know, any ex-girlfriend, just whatever's going on with her, just to say hi or whatever. Just, I'm always curious about what happens with people's lives and things.
Yeah, but how do you think it would be if you like just like ran into Vanessa, or like let's say you go to work tonight and she's just at the bar? Like, how do you think that would be?
Well, I could picture her come up and saying, "Hey, how are you doing?" Trying to give me a hug, and I wouldn't give her a hug.
You wouldn't?
No.
You want an explanation.
She knew the way I was feeling at the end.
Yeah.
And she pretty much chose to hurt me, to do something like that. You know, like if you know someone's hurting and you just don't say anything to them.
Yeah. And you've reached out to her. I mean, I know we talked about it.
Yeah, a couple times after that, I sent some texts because, I mean, maybe someone could say you're sounding desperate when you do that, but I just had this feeling that something wasn't right in her life, and I just wanted to give her that opening, like maybe you could fix this. Or
you don't want to ever be able to say like, I wish I would have done that, or I wish I would have reached out, you know?
Yeah. I just felt like something wasn't right, and maybe she feels like she can't talk to me, but maybe she can. But she may have had those messages blocked. Like after she broke up with me, she might have just blocked my number for all I know.
Yeah.
Or new boyfriend may have made her do that, whatever.
Yeah. You never know.
But if she came and talked to me, I mean, I wouldn't feel friendly about it, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Whereas like with your other ex-girlfriends, you would feel amicable at least, you know? Give them a hug. How are you doing? How's the dog? How are the kids? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I can't think of anyone I have bad feelings for. I mean, there was one girl when I was 19. My girlfriend was 25. and it was weird. I mean,
she's like, he's not serious enough? Like, yeah, you're 19.
I mean, she ended up dumping me, and she was a little bit of a bitch about it, but it wasn't that bad, you know?
Yeah.
It was just, you know, it wasn't anything that was going to go forever, or,
yeah.
You know? It was just a down time for me, so I was just kind of down when she left, but we were just young and messing around. It was, you know, that's what it was.
Yeah. Well,
there were no promises made, you know, like in this case.
I would now it's like gonna drive me probably as crazy as it drove you, because I'm like, I want to know the reason why she stopped talking to you, because there has to be a reason, you know, like. Well,
there's some girls I know, and sometimes they'll say, "So, have you ever heard from her?" I'll say no. They're like, "Never," because it's just weird that like never, because that's.
Yeah. Do you like, do any of her friends come to your job, or?
She has one friend that comes in once in a while.
And have you asked her?
No.
Maybe you should do that.
No, I'm not going to.
No?
No.
Just saying, she might have the 411 on that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's yeah.
Then it sounds like chapter ended, you know?
It's ended, and you know, I learned some stuff. We're probably getting a little short on time here, but I don't, at the moment, I'll just say I don't regret it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, you know, maybe we'll have an epilogue to the epilogue. And it's not to draw out the story, it's just maybe some philosophical things for people to think about after a relationship, whether it ends bad or good, you know, what you can get out of it.
Yeah.
You know?
It's weird though, because you said like you sent like a couple texts after she like was slow ghosting you, and you said like you just had a feeling something was off, and like now I'm feeling that same way, and I'm like, I just feel like she's going to reach out to you at some point. I don't know when, but something's not right.
Well,
you know?
After she actually broke up with me, I still sent a couple messages over a few months, just because I felt like.
Well, that's how I feel right now too. Like I'm like, something's not right.
I feel like,
you know?
she's not in a great situation.
Yeah.
But I mean, she's a strong person, and I'm not saying she has a bad life. Like she's. I'd like to think that, like I said, she's taking care of her family and doing some good for someone.
Can only hope for the best.
Yeah, I just don't think it's just sad that she'll never know what we could have had.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels very like just like cut short. You
Yeah,
know?
because she kind of caught me in the beginning of some changes in my life, and I mean, maybe they're right. We don't know what's going to happen. I mean, in several years from now, I could be homeless, and she might think, "Man, I'm sure I'm glad I got out of that thing." Or some awesome things might happen,
and you could be the next Pete Davidson, and she'd be watching the Taco Bell commercials like, "Damn," and I had that.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't bet against me.
I wouldn't either.
Follow me, everything is alright. I'll be the one to tuck you in at night. And if you want to leave, I can guarantee you won't find nobody else like me.